Today we have on stage, we have Alex, the CEO, we have Ryan, Chief of Staff, and we have Zur and Akel, who are my community leads. And I am the community manager. So at this time, all participants are in listen-only mode. Today's community conference call will be structured as such. Alex will start off with the CEO's top of mind, and then he'll let Ryan, our Chief of Staff, talk about, all things related to Valhalla operations. And then I'll touch base a little bit on what we're working on the community end, and then we'll head into our Q&A. We'll keep the community conference call at an hour, so the conference will go however long you guys have questions for the Q&A. At that time, feel free to request to speak, or chat in the chat, and I'll monitor and ask any questions myself as well. So without further ado, let's get started. Alex, if you want to begin with the CEO's top of mind, we can go ahead and kick this off.
Yeah, of course. Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning in here. It's good to see there's almost 200 people here tuning in. For our town halls internally, we always start with the CEO top of mind. So at the end of the day, what's really important is that everyone on the team is on the same page. And we want to extend that same kind of courtesy to the community as well. So you know exactly, what's going on at all times. I think top of mind for me are really two things. One, obviously, observing the macro climate. As you guys know, with NFTs, it's really about liquidity in the market, kind of, creating a great product and then kind of enticing kind of new kind of holders into the collection. Obviously I've been tracking kind of the numbers in terms of Ethereum wallet users and so on and so forth. It's been relatively flat. So, that's kind of been a difficult headwind, I think, for us. And the second thing, obviously, also is I know everybody's incredibly anxious. We just minted out. They want to know all these announcements, what's coming next. But I've kind of constantly reiterated, great things honestly just take time to build. We're really long-term focused here. We really don't want to, come out with announcements just for the sake of announcements and then they kind of fall flat in their face. We've been planning, and I think kind of one of the largest things that we've been kind of thinking towards is one, obviously, let's have a really, really smooth reveal. That obviously will take time. We don't want to run into any mishaps that previous projects may have done where the art comes out, it's subpar or some layering might be off. So really the team is taking its time to make sure that all the art looks great. The second bit, obviously, which we've alluded to with not much information yet is, on reveal, we also have a 7-day event that will occur. That requires a lot of QA and testing as well so that things go smoothly. As you guys know, in the crypto space, you have to get things perfect on the first time, or else unfortunately you kind of get flooded to death. So that's kind of another thing top of mind for us is that, yes, the team worked overtime to ensure a smooth mint experience, which thankfully for everyone here, it went incredibly well. We really appreciate that. But, continuing on, every experience we deliver now needs to be flawless. And so that, takes time and dedication. So that's kind of what my eyes are focused on right now. Obviously I can talk about next quarters and moving on about what we're going to do, but that's kind of top of mind right now. So I'll pass the mic back to Sammy.
Thanks, Alex. All right, we'll go ahead and go to Ryan. Ryan, do you want to start off with all things Valhalla operations?
Yeah, not too much of a material update here. We're, like Alex said, we're all very much on the same page here, just working towards making sure the reveal goes well. All the art is 100% QA'd, polished, and making sure the post-reveal event goes well. I think we're all operating right now with a zero defect mentality. One thing I will say around announcements and all that, we want to be very careful here. Everything we announce is only going to be announced and once it's 100% certain, locked, signed, all that. So, while we do have a lot of irons in the fire, just bear with us, as we get to a point where we actually feel comfortable in making these announcements. But top of mind for me right now is just making sure the reveal and the post-reveal event go well.
Yep, that sounds good. And I think on the community side, guys, for those of you who don't know, back in October, we hosted a cross-project, Fall Guys tournament with a 10K prize pool. I thought it was a huge success. We had so many different, I think we had 10 different teams across the board, including, Azuki, PXN, Doodles, Pudgy. There's so many more to name. The tournament was a huge success. And after the tournament, two communities offered to sponsor the next event, one of them being PXN, the other being Underground. So, on the community side, We're currently working on the logistics for our next tournament, starting early Q1 of 2023. So going to talk to those sponsors and, throw another tournament. We're going to try to throw a quarterly huge tournament like that with a similar 10K prize pool. And then, after reveal, what does the community look like on a day-to-day basis? We're going to look into throwing smaller tournaments, looking at monthly tournaments, hit different games that our community plays, such as Valorant. I know a lot of our community plays Valorant, Apex, League of Legends, Dota, etc. So, on the community end, that's what we're thinking of. What do the tournaments look like, big and small? So, Alex, if you have anything else other than that, guys, this is the time for our community to feel free to raise your hand. And if you have a question or you want to ask the team, what's next, like feel free to request to speak and I'll bring you on stage. Like I said, this community conference call can go up to an hour. So it's however long you want to make it. So feel free to request to speak if you want to ask a question. Alex, do you have anything else? Other than that, we can kick it off with the Q&A.
Yeah, for sure. I think we can just kick it off the Q&A. I can give general product updates, but I think those things can surface through the AMA as well. So just go ahead and invite people up.
All right, that sounds good. All right, I'll go ahead and bring some people up to ask some questions. Guys, feel free to request to speak. And Acol as well, if you see any questions in the chat, for those of you who don't want to request to speak, just let me know and we can go ahead and bring them up. So first we have Hated by Fate. Hated by Fate, hello, welcome to the stage. Would you like to ask a question?
Yeah, what's up? Hey, can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Yeah, I go by Fate. That's usually easier for people to remember, so Fate's fine. And so my question to the team was, besides streaming content, is the Valhalla platform, all of it is it gonna be open to different types of content, whether that's like DIY type YouTube things, or maybe even different games like maybe Final Fantasy, streaming speedrun of Final Fantasy. Are there going to be opportunities to have different types of content besides streaming? And if we already have experience in those kinds of streaming of those content, how should we get in touch, or how should we develop those channels?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great question. I think originally when we start, so when you generally build a new platform or a product, you generally want to limit the scope as much as possible. Like, you don't want to do too many things at once. And to kind of give you a general idea of that, the reason why we want to focus on gaming right when we launch is that it's really about aggregating the most amount of interesting content for a specific type of user. So to give you an example, if we literally had, beauty tutorials on our website alongside, gaming montages or highlights, those target very, very different target markets, as you can imagine. And so when your content is kind of scattered all over the place, you're really satisfying no one. What you really want is like deep library catalog in one specific vertical, whether it's gaming, and even within gaming like Valorant or Fortnite or League of Legends. That's kind of really what you want to do. But obviously, as we continue to expand and we continue to expand our niche, then we definitely will expand into VODs, like YouTube style videos where you can upload, as well as other verticals as well. And so this is actually a really interesting thing, and this is kind of visualized through data as well. If you go to something called twitchatlas.com, you can literally see how communities generally grow. And they grow very orthogonally. You don't really see someone from like a big fan of Valorant hop over into, I'm trying to think of like chess, for example. I don't know if that's actually a true kind of thing, but if you kind of go to twitchatlas.com, you can kind of see that's how communities naturally grow and where you need density of content. So, long story short, I think when we start out, it'll mostly be gaming, but we definitely have our eyes expanding further on as we kind of get that density of content. I think your second question was, what? I think it was about if you're already a content creator or you have experience doing it, how do you kind of work with the platform? I think in Q1 of next year, we're definitely going to have an open call for content creators within the Valhalla community to kind of sign up for the platform. And we're definitely going to dedicate resources from the Stacked side to kind of support the community and our content creators, whether it's through helping out with marketing, editing your content to kind of distribute through different social media channels, so on and so forth. Because at the end of the day, it's very aligned here. The platform only succeeds if our content creators succeed. So we're highly incentivized to do everything we can in our ability to make sure that you succeed across all channels, not just on Stacked itself. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I guess my only concern was that within Web3, I don't think that the audience is big enough for for it to be a viable like revenue model when we're streaming to enough people on Web3. So that's what I was kind of getting at.
It's not just the Web3 community. So it's like our general target is that it's supposed to be targeted towards Web2, because ultimately that's how you're ultimately going to onboard more people into Web3. Our job is to basically obfuscate all the crypto features so that our features are built upon crypto, but to the end user, they don't actually know that it's a crypto-enabled product, if that makes sense. So the games that are going to be streamed on our platform are not going to be like Web3 games. It's going to be like Valorant. It's going to be League of Legends, right? But then the subscriptions that people buy, whether there's a tier 1 sub, tier 2 sub, tier 3 sub, those are going to be based on NFTs that are tradable, subscription-based NFTs. So that's kind of the core distinction, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for answering my questions and having me up here. I really appreciate it.
No worries. Anytime.
I will step down and let somebody else come in.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Hated by Fate. Alex, do you want to take this time actually for those in the audience that are new holders, maybe potentially, talk about the streaming platform, maybe even the timelines of when we plan to roll it out to our community to test it out?
Yeah, of course. Happy to talk a little bit about that. So everyone, the live streaming platform, Stacked, we plan to kind of roll on MVP, or what we call a minimum viable product, probably in around March or April, kind of a very, very early beta. It's going to be a closed beta where, we're going to probably focus on getting 1 or 2 content creators that we as a community are going to source together. Obviously, we'll do the legwork on our end as well to kind of find the best content creator, to kind of onboard them onto the platform to make them as successful as possible. The reason we kind of come with this launch strategy is that, if you think about Twitch, right, or YouTube, or any of these kind of live streaming channels, they're basically like TV. TV is composed of, thousands and thousands of channels. The parable to Twitch is basically like Twitch is TV, and then each streamer is essentially a channel, and there's thousands of streamers. For us, it makes a lot more sense to have one really, really great channel before we try to figure out how to make all TV successful. So to kind of put that into even easier words, we would rather have one content creator that pops off every single day for 3 hours than have 100 creators that have 3 viewers, right? And by having this kind of relentless focus, the reason why it's important is because we can spend a lot of time with these few content creators and really, really figure out how to make them successful. We can build crypto native features. For example, like I mentioned before, what happens if you make subscriptions based on NFTs and limited quantity, very similar to how NFT communities operate. How can you kind of really supercharge a creator and their community to kind of really be financially aligned? I think that there's a lot of interesting experimentation there that can highly differentiate us from the experiences of Twitch and YouTube. And so that's kind of what the core product is. I've said this time and time again. I know a lot of people who are new to the community. We realize the task that we're going up against, right? To be as a startup, to be able to challenge a live streaming platform or a video platform. But obviously, as you guys know, in the Silicon Valley, I think that's what makes these challenges so attractive and lucrative, is that these are the ones kind of worth taking on. I think this is the vision that Pantera was incredibly excited about. A16Z was excited about. We are not raised from A16Z, but certain players are very excited about in the market. Is that we're finally able to kind of rebuild really popular, I think, properties on the internet, but base them on Web3, where the viewers, as well as the creators, as well as a platform, can all be financially incentivized in the same way. So that's kind of the high level for Stacked. And I'll kind of leave it there in case anyone has any additional questions. Sammy, I'll pass it back to you.
Yep. I'll go ahead and sprinkle in some questions that we have in the Ask the Team thread. This one's actually for Ryan. Ryan's Hammurabi wants to know, the Mint Treasury how are the funds held? Is it going to be in ETH? Do we have any plans to keep them in stable? Do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, I think it'll probably be a mix of both, leaning towards the conservative side. The plan is to stable swap I don't want to put a number on it, but I would say probably close to 75% or higher, just depending on where price movement is. We are waiting on getting approved for a Coinbase institutional account. You know, we were previously approved on FTX US, but obviously we all know what happened there. So just waiting to clear a few regulatory hoops there with Coinbase. But the plan is to stable swap most of it.
Sounds good. And I'm seeing a couple questions in the Ask the Team thread about the NFT reveal mechanic. I know we can't reveal anything specific, but some people are wondering, if I don't participate in reveal, will my NFT still reveal? Do you think you can share any high level information about the mechanism that we're releasing on top of reveal?
Yeah, I want to clear something up. This like reveal event is a little bit of a misnomer. It is a post reveal event. So the reveal itself will be a standard reveal. The entire collection will have its metadata updated and pushed all at once. The event will happen immediately after that. So whether or not you want to participate in it on the first day, on the last day, something in between, will not affect the reveal of your specific NFT.
Sounds good. I'm going to bring up some people while I take a look at some questions in the thread. We're going to bring up Jamie. All right, Jamie, hello.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. Would you like
All
to
right.
ask your question?
Yeah, thanks for having me up. I have a few questions about like marketing. How do you guys plan like to market like future-wise the product? And I don't know, you can answer on that, and then I have like some other stuff to ask.
Yeah, for sure. So I think in general, our philosophy is very similar to Netflix's, in the sense that it's really about content acquisition, and you have this really, I think, positive flywheel where the better content or content creators that you generally get, you'll attract great viewers, right? And viewers will support those content creators, and then it's a flywheel that kind of keeps going on itself. That's kind of why you see Netflix spend, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, kind of creating new originals, so on and so forth. So there's a caveat there. It doesn't mean that we're gonna go and go out and acquire like the largest streamers like Ninja or Pokimane or something like that. We've already seen that fail. As you guys have seen with Mixer, with Microsoft, they basically tried to clone Twitch one for one and to port their content creators over. We already know that's a losing battle. We're not Fang behemoth. We have limited capital, so we need to kind of be very, very, I think strategic of who we get. So that's kind of why we talk a lot about, really investing in homegrown content creators, as well as I think for us, the sweet spot, if we are to kind of port over creators, is in the 500 average concurrent viewer realm to 1,000, where basically they're kind of stuck in Twitch hell, where they can't get big enough because Twitch's website just isn't prone for good distribution, and that's kind of the place in which we'll sit. The one thing again I'll say is that like the big differentiator between our platform and something like Twitch or YouTube is that we're really focused on deepening the relationship between the content creator and their community, right? So, if you guys think about how every single social network has ever popped off, let's see, take Instagram, right? The biggest YouTubers did not become the biggest Instagrammers. The biggest Instagram people were not the biggest TikTokers, so on and so forth. Every new platform always rose a new generation of content creators. And then the most fascinating thing about this is that the founder of TikTok, he actually uses an analogy, I don't know if you guys know your US history, but they kind of use the analogy of like the old guard of social media is like England, right? So think of like Twitch and YouTube as like England right now. If you're a content creator on there on Twitch or YouTube, yes, it is the most successful, but it's incredibly hard because the competition is so big there. We're basically like America. It's kind of dangerous. It's kind of across the sea. You gotta take a boat to get there. But once you kind of get there, it's kind of a promised land that there is new opportunity and you can't succeed. So for us, the way that we think about it is like, hey, how can we deepen the relationship between content creators and their community? I think a parable that we like to think about is like a content creator who only has 50 viewers on Stacked makes as much money as a content creator who has 500 viewers on Twitch or on YouTube. We're never going to beat distribution, but we can certainly build unique feature sets to kind of deepen the relationship, right? Where it's like that streamer now has a tighter bond with like the community members that they care about most, and we do that through crypto-enabled features like NFTs, through subscriptions, so on and so forth. So it really is just a differentiated product set, I think, in terms of marketing, as well as investing in up and coming content creators to kind of pull great users in. I don't think something like direct response marketing, like performance marketing, would work well here. And you don't ever see companies like Netflix or HBO ever really do that. They really just focus on producing great content. I hope that, sorry, that was a long-winded answer, but I hope that kind of gives you a peek into how we think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I understand as well. The streaming content creators, will it be available for anyone, or it's just like main focus on those guys and expand, and then like other people can jump on? Like with Twitch right now, anyone can stream, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think in the beginning, at least when we talk about the MVP in March or April, it will be closed beta. So we're really going to focus on a few select individuals that we really want to go all in on. The reason for this is because we're really going to be full service here, right? It's like they're going to be streaming on our platform. We're going to have an editorial team to offer assistance in cutting up the content, to helping you grow on YouTube, helping you grow on TikTok, because we want to pull that traffic um, into Stacked in a content marketing method. So I think that's kind of where it is. But certainly, for example, if you're interested, we'll have a Google form to kind of reach out to the community members, and we'd love to learn more about you and how we can help you be successful as well. So I think that's kind of what the process is going to look like right now.
All right, so it's not like open like YouTube or like Twitch where anyone can
No,
stream.
no.
No,
Eventually it will be 100. Yeah, eventually it will be 100%. Just not initially.
I was thinking maybe it was you could guys do something like, okay, if you're a holder, then you're allowed to stream, maybe, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, it's not so much about exclusivity. It's more just about ensuring that whoever goes live on our platform can be successful, right? Like, we just want to make sure, because we're obviously going to be super small when we start. We just want to make sure that, like, let's say you are a holder, like, and you decide to go live. We don't want you to kind of go live and no one knows about it, right? Like, if you're a holder and you really want to stream on our platform, just let us know so we can provide you resources. We can coordinate with the community, being like, hey, look, like, Jamie is going to be going on at 10 a.m. PST. Community, come show your support, and we can kind of go from there, right? That's really our intention. It's not because we just want to be like, nope, you can't stream. It's nothing like that. So it certainly can be a benefit if you hold a Valhalla NFT for sure, though.
Yeah, so the thing is like, with streamers and stuff, it's like difficult on Twitch and YouTube, like, to get like views and stuff, uh how you get on it is basically, you're gonna go stream new games and stuff like that before anyone does that, and then you like title the
Hmm.
game and like people find you like that. So is it gonna
Hmm.
be possible on the platform to do that as well? Like any game you
Yeah,
want and
yeah.
stuff?
Yeah, it's definitely any game you want. Yeah, I certainly understand that. I don't know if you guys know this. I used to manage Offline TV. They're the top Twitch streaming house back in 2017, and I was able to see Toast pop off from Hearthstone. I was able to see Pokey move from League into Fortnite and pop off from 800K to 4 million viewers. Oh, sorry, 4 million followers on Instagram. So like, I generally have seen that it is very game dependent. You really need to kind of be versatile to kind of follow those waves. So it definitely will be open. And the reality is like it's really about finding that personality that's great that people really want to watch, right? So I think yes, it definitely is open. We might stay away from more esoteric games that are hard to bring in viewers, but if you certainly play one of the most popular games, that's an easy kind of thing. It doesn't really matter what you play, I think.
I mean, that's how I see it. Like, if I was gonna go stream on YouTube right now, I'm gonna go find like a game that is like brand new and like try and jump into the audience like that. Instead of, there's so many people streaming right now, it's hard to get noticed. So that's one way to do it on like Twitch and stuff, and then you grow like from there. Like same with
Yeah.
Apex Legends. Like I've seen people like they just started from nothing, and then they went big because they were playing like since the beginning, and they got good at the game as well.
Mhm.
So you definitely have to have skills and stuff like that at the game. and that personality that you said.
Yeah, for sure. Again, it's like we obviously don't have all the answers. We have a strong thesis, but we're definitely willing to try anything. And I think your suggestion is great.
Yeah, I was also the last question is like, is the streaming platform the main focus, or like, are you guys gonna like be pushing out the artwork as well? Because I really like the artwork and the PFPs and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So because
So
I don't
no.
know what they have going on, but I mean, I just look at it like it's an art kind of project, and you know, it went so well, so I don't see how
Mhm.
it couldn't go well for Valhalla as well with just the great art.
Yeah, for sure. So no, it is certainly not the only thing that we're working on. If you kind of read through I think before we minted, I posted a 23 point tweet thread. I know nobody wants to read that shit, but I also made a video if you want to kind of go through that as well. But I kind of said that Valhalla was a crypto native brand for gamers, and from a very very high level, what that means, and I kind of gave you guys a little bit of background, is that on a macro level, if you think about what's happening with human behavior, is that we're spending more and more time online, right? Offline in the real world, people buy Ferraris, people buy watches, people buy T-shirts. All of that is a way to kind of better express yourself as a human being. Online, the only way that we've been able to do that is, oh, hey, look, I gotten more followers, or hey, that I'm verified on this platform. That's how I should be matter, right? But you actually started to see that with NFTs. You're starting to see this fragmentation of identity where people want to rock a doodle, people want to rock an Azuki, so on and so forth, so they can better express themselves. So there was obviously this very, very clear narrative that new brands were going to form. And for us, what we saw was a big, wide gap for the gamer, right? Obviously, gaming is inherently very, very digitally native, but no one is really addressing that. So because of that, that's why Valhalla was created. We partnered with some of the top gaming artists to kind of create our PFP collection. It's something that we're incredibly excited to show you guys on the reveal, happening next week. So, we have a suite of initiatives that are going to kind of continue to improve the brand and the attractiveness of Valhalla as an IP, right? So whether that means, in 2023, we already have planned to do a physical partnership. We're gonna as you guys, I don't know if you guys know too much about the background of all the partners that we've partnered with. We partnered with T1, which is arguably the face of esports. We partnered with Sentinels, a top team in the US in terms of reach. So we have massive, massive distribution. Our partners are incredibly happy that they're able to dip their toes into crypto with us. And there's several more initiatives that we're going to continue down the line in 2023. So, the Stacked platform is just the initiative of Stacked that's going to drive value to Valhalla. But Valhalla as a standalone brand is going to continue to kind of grow as well. We just can't be you guys know this, right? It's always a balance of, that allure of a sexy surprise versus like me literally sitting here telling you exactly what everything is going to be. That's not really cool, right? Everyone likes the suspense and the mystery. But that stuff will certainly come, and it just takes time. It's not something we can kind of come up with tomorrow. So, we really appreciate your patience. Jamie, I hope that answers your question. There's a lot more things coming down the line on the Valhalla side as well.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love to hear whatever you guys are doing. Like, and the stuff sounds really great. And yeah,
Totally.
I really like the trailers and stuff you guys did as well. So hopefully you guys can pull out some more of those. I don't know if it's possible, but that's what
Yeah.
that's what I really liked when I saw the trailer. Like
Yeah.
even though I don't know anything about it, I saw that there was some quality going in, like to the artwork and trailers, and it makes you look like this project's down to business, and not just like
It
some
is.
rug pull or something.
Yeah, I mean, like for the people that actually really followed us since, like we were pre-mint for 6 months. 3 months in, we completely changed our artwork because we realized it wasn't good enough. Like for us, quality is number one because we realized like for any product ever in the world that you ever sell, like it always comes down to product quality. Is this thing good, right? If the thing is really good, then people will genuinely want it. That trailer took us 4 months. It was like endless iterations and cuts, and even then we've learned so much about the 3D trailer making process that we're gonna do it even better next time. But I mean, it's nice for you to come up on stage. I know we should probably move on to the next person, but it's nice for you to come up on stage and give us and note that, because I think the team did put an extraneous amount of effort to making sure those things were good.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Jamie. I'm to the audience. And then next up, we'll have Illumin Being. Hi, Illumin. Would you like to go ahead and ask your question?
Hi, yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me up. My specific question sort of dovetails from what was asked just now, but also it was being hinted on when I joined the space, which I joined just a little bit late. So you may have covered it a little bit, but I'd love to get in the weeds a little bit more about the relationship between Stacked and Valhalla. Like what we hear a lot about when we hear about Valhalla is, you know, the platform and what's being built out with the platform. And my understanding is that that is specific to Stacked Studios, and the Valhalla NFT project is essentially, like you said, the crypto native brand for gamers, but it is the sort of the built-in community that will, I guess, have that information flow between the community and Stacked and how the platform sort of rolls out. But I wanted to sort of pick your brain a little bit more about the specificity of the relationship between this community that you're building through Valhalla and also with, or I guess with the platform that you're building through Stack Studios.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, happy to dive into that. Ryan, do you think I should dive into like the legal structure of things at all, or just kind of keep it high level, or what do you think?
Just keep it high level. I can chime in if needed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so it's a great question, man. And I think you're right. It does kind of need a little bit more specificity, at least to communicate into the market. I think at a very, very high level, we think of it as like Stacked. As you guys know, Studios is very similar to Yuga Labs. Our streaming platform is very similar to the Parable. If you take that analogy of like Bored Ape and you have Other Side, we think of it very similarly as like, you know, Other Side is their game, obviously. For us, Stacked is our streaming platform. It's like for gamers, in our opinion, you know, obviously there's people that interpret the metaverse as like, what was I going to say? People interpret the metaverse as a game. You know, if our interpretation of that is really a streaming platform where content creators who are obviously mostly playing games can communicate with their audience. And also, as you know, like, you know, for most of us in NFTs, our metaverse today is really Twitter, right? It's a town hall in which we rep our PFPs. And that's kind of how we live out the metaverse today, I guess, is like, you know, we tweet from these accounts that just post text, and then we have our faces as PFPs, and that's how we kind of virtualize our identities. With Stacked, it's quite similar in the sense of like, Stacked is kind of our long-term goal, right? It's kind of our hail. Obviously, with Valhalla, in terms of building it as a crypto native brand, we have a lot of short to medium terms goals that I think we're going to realize in 2023. Stacked is kind of more of a long-term goal, like Other Side, where if successful, will drive an enormous amount of value, I think, to the Valhalla collection as well. The best way to think about it is like, think about how powerful it would be if Twitter came out with their own PFP collection today, right? We've kind of already seen it with Reddit. But imagine if Twitter did it. It wouldn't actually even need any specific utility because Twitter is the largest town hall today, if they came out with their own collection, that collection would naturally be number one. In the same way that for Other Side, for example, if Other Side actually popped off as the number one game and it actually breached into Web 2 and it had hundreds of millions of users, undoubtedly the Bored Ape collection would then be, I mean, it's already number one, but undoubtedly the Bored Ape collection would be even bigger than it is today because everyone playing that game would ultimately be like, wow, like, you know, this Bored Ape asset is at the core of everything that this company has really done. You know, this is a valuable asset. So in the same vein for us, it's similar, right? Where it's like we have created this core IP called Valhalla, and then we have a streaming platform, which is our kind of interpretation of what the gamer metaverse should be, at least our piece of the internet. If we one day get as big as Twitch, or even a quarter of Twitch, or even a tenth of Twitch, our audience members, will recognize Valhalla as an IP, and we'll continue to kind of build out exclusive benefits both for viewers and for the content creators. So I think that's really the relationship. It's more of a long-term play, whereas Valhalla specific itself, we have a ton of short-term initiatives that are coming into play as well. So like product collaborations, more content creation through media, like interviews with popular content creators and stuff like that. So I think think of it as like one big ecosystem. Does it kind of make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, I actually just got finished with Virtual Society, and I had a really good time with that book. Really suggest it highly. And he, throughout that book, that's the co-founder of Improbable's new book, and talking about the
Okay.
metaverse and the different metaverses and how they'll layer on top of one another in a sort of networked architecture. But I think you know, I guess the crux of my question and what you've described also brings up another question is, will it be, sort of the Valhalla community that you tap, as you build out the platform for example, your streamers that you're going to sort of coach through the process and bring to market, kind of honing their skills, their personalities, their ability to create that content that pops. And
Yeah.
Also, how do you see the sort of the read only aspect of a channel? Is that going to be, do you think, dynamic enough? I mean, we see the streamers that exist already, legacy streamers, just massive audiences. But I think, and I wonder if there's going to be a potential for a little more dynamism in the relationship between viewers and creators.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I'll leave it. I'll leave it there. Let you kind of fill those, and then then step down. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
no, yeah, no, of course. These are great questions, by the way. So you asked me two questions. One, will we be leveraging the Valhalla community and bring them into the Stack platform? And then your second question was, is there an increased interaction between viewers and creators on the platform? So let's start with, I got that correct, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's start with number one. So will we be leveraging Valhalla's community into the streaming platform? The answer is definitely yes. I think that we want to keep the community incredibly engaged. I think on the platform and everything that we do. So for example, when we kind of go out into the market and we start looking for that right content creator that we really want to host, I don't know what that means. At this point in time, it could mean like, hey, if you're really, let's pick 4 to 5 content creators, fly them to LA, set them up, get sponsors, set them up with PCs, make them incredibly successful. I definitely want to engage the entire community. We want to ask the community, hey, what do you guys think of these people that we found? Or even within the community, hey, you want to be a content creator? We want you to succeed. Do you want to kind of like move to LA? Do you want to work closely with us and help us build up that feature set? So I think that the reason why I think leveraging the Valhalla community to kind of get going in the first place is so important is because that'll really help us jumpstart the network, right? Where you have highly, I think right now your unique wallets like 5,000 or something like that. You have 5,000 highly, incentivized people who really want to cheer on this next content creator, and that can really help a new content creator feel less lonely, right? That so many people really, really care. That's one. Two, the thing I'll say is that like a lot of talk has been thrown around constantly about whether or not Valhalla can field its own esports team, right? Or whether or not Valhalla can field its own content creator house like Offline TV. I think this is absolutely the perfect way in the sense of like, if the Valhalla community can really come together, because as you guys know, I don't know if you guys know this, but like in the gaming space, the only way to really have a career is either to become a content creator or to become an esports player, right? So it's only natural that the top brand, a gaming brand at least in NFTs, fields its own content creation house or fields its own esports team, right? Esports team is a little difficult because every single game publisher has their regulations around crypto. But in terms of content creators, wouldn't it be dope if Valhalla became a name amongst the content creator houses where we not owned, but like you can't. You own the IP that governed, let's say, like the next big content creators. That's something that's incredibly exciting and something that I think we definitely want the community to be able to leverage and grow into. Because again, one, that'll just give us a massive distribution channel for anything that we do Valhalla based. So, that answers the first question, which is like, will the community be leveraged, I think, in the beginning to kind of really be engaged on, selecting our initial creator base. The second question you basically asked was, again, will the interaction between, streamers and their community be, be improved? And I think the answer is definitely yes. If you think about what I said kind of a few, minutes back, I mentioned to you that our job is to basically better, deepen the relationship between a content creator and their core community members. I think that, anyway, I kind of mentioned some numbers around here, right? I said like 50 versus 500. I think that the platform that we're trying to build is really about like smaller content creators with deeper relationships with their audience members, which means more real estate and more interaction ability from their core community members to what was I going to say? The core community members to the content creator. Right now, in the user interface of Twitch or YouTube, it doesn't matter if you're the most hardcore fan of a specific creator or you're just like a free kind of bypassing person. Your name is a little bit different, but your interactions are pretty much the same. There's really no reward for being a bigger fan than someone else. For us, we're really trying to redefine that. It's just a very, very hard balance because at the end of the day, right? Like at the end of the day, live streaming ultimately boils down to content. We also don't want a situation where it's like you have your top, I don't know, supporters just dominating the conversation because top supporters, they don't necessarily equate to great content, right? Nobody wants to watch the top supporters and their favorite content creator just talk to each other and everyone else is kind of left on the sidelines. So it's this fine balance of like, we definitely want to increase, I think, viewer and streamer engagement, but you don't want to do it too much where the content just becomes unwatchable. So, but I do think like a lot of those native features of like being able to hop on a call with a creator in real time without having to download like or use Discord and live stream that, I think all those things will be natively built into our product, and we'll learn on a lot of the mistakes that Twitch and YouTube have made.
Yeah, I think that you sort of answered the second question by answering the first, insofar as you're able to tap into the community and you're tapping into the wisdom of the crowd, and that crowd is one that's sort of crypto native and Web3 native, and they know what community is and what community wants, and the ability for Stack Studios to tap into Valhalla as a community allows it to, like you said, build out a platform, have that information flow between the community and Stack be such that you're able to leverage the really good ideas and what people want to see, and how they want to engage, and where the legacy streamers come up short. So yeah, no, I love that. One more quick question, if I could. I know that you guys have been doing a lot of filming. And I love that aspect of it, and I think that it adds an intimacy and authenticity with those of us who have been watching and following the project. And like you said, there is a potential to bring some content creators into a house and put them together. I think that certainly lends itself towards something in the mode of an episodic, something that you could launch the platform off of, that is sort of the making of. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there. I'm sure you guys have obviously already thought about that, because you guys are doing a lot of behind the scenes filming, and I know that content's not going to go in the dustbin. So no, I appreciate everything. Once again, thanks a lot. And I'll step down.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks for the question. I think and the suggestion. Yeah, absolutely. We're absolutely going to be improving and increasing the amount of, I think, content and media initiatives that we have. At the end of the day, again, it's like the classic consumer Silicon Valley kind of saying. It's like you kind of have to dog food and use your own product. You have to really understand the mind of the people that you're building for. And so, I'm going to start streaming on Twitch while we're building over the next quarter, just so I can understand what it feels like to be a content creator. We're going to be doing more behind the scenes so you guys can, because at the end of the day with crypto, a lot of it's about trust. A lot of people obviously say a lot of things online, but when you can physically see people doing stuff and delivering week in, week out, it builds a lot more trust. So, we really appreciate that you guys like the behind the scenes footage. We're going to continue to do that, and we're only going to get better at it. So we're really excited to show you guys that. And yeah, thank you so much for all these questions and suggestions.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Thank you, Lumen. All right, I'll go ahead, Alex. I'll ask a few more questions coming from the chat, and then we'll bring a few more people up, and then we should be able to wrap it up within an hour. So one question I'm seeing frequently is people are asking about the partnerships. So you touched base on how we've partnered with top teams such as T1, and Ryan, you can answer this too, but the holders are just wondering, what do those partnerships look like? Are we going to be doing more with them eventually down the line? besides just, announcing that we have a partnership?
Sure. Happy to take this question as well. I was one that brokered the partnerships, so obviously I can speak to it. At a very, very base level, at a very fundamental level, what the partnerships represent is, we license each team's IP to kind of show up in the collection. The reason why we originally did this and the reason why we didn't partner with any other Web3 brand is for a few reasons. One, we wanted to align ourselves with brands that would help solidify us as like a premier gaming brand in NFTs, right? And there was no better way to do that than to align ourselves with the top brands in esports like T1, Sentinels, JDG, so on and so forth. If you think about strategically also why we picked each of these teams is because we wanted to reach several markets that were very important to us, right? So for example, obviously China is a very big crypto market. And so who better to kind of bring us to China than the number one League of Legends team in China, right? They won the LPL, which is the League of Legends League in China. And, we're very grateful for that partnership, and they've been amazing partners to us. Obviously T1 in Korea, so on and so forth. So, what is the actual utility? Obviously we've had to been a little bit quiet because, we can't promise future utility with NFTs, basically, not wanting to be classified as security, so on and so forth, but we'll avoid that conversation. I think each team, our partnership varies greatly. What I will say is that the teams, the deal structure that we have with a lot of the partner teams is that they're incentivized to drive more value to the trade holders, and that can vary by team. So I'll give you an example, like JDG in China, for their holders, obviously, what they want to do is it's kind of tricky because they're based in China, but for them, they're basically like, hey, holders of our trades will be able to, have a meet and greet with our players. They'll be able to access signed jerseys. If we qualify to Worlds again, they'll be able to kind of fly, one or two people out, depending on the trait, to wherever the next World is going to be to kind of watch, right? So it's an ongoing conversation of building out that functionality. It was just very important that we got the traits and partnerships locked down prior to the collection going out because, as you guys know, the stuff is immutable. Once the NFT collection goes out, I can't just go and add more traits after. So that's kind of the extent of it. We can't exactly promise on a per team basis, hey, we will come out with that information, right? As we kind of lock in these partners, lock in the benefit details per team, we'll obviously start to expose that stuff on the website so our holders can know. And we'll also build it into the collections UI that we have on our own website, so you know exactly what sort of benefits you get based on your NFT. But at this point in time, it kind of varies per team, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes sense. And then someone else wants to know if they're not a streamer or creator, what value can holding a Valhalla NFT bring to the rest of them?
Yeah, for sure. As I said before, it's really two things, right? Like one, Valhalla is going to be valuable as a standalone NFT, right? Think about it as like a luxury brand, if you will. We're going to spend a lot of time getting, the Valhalla NFTs into key members of the gaming community, right? That can kind of help pull the brand upstream. Someone obviously idealistic would be someone like Nate Shot, who's the CEO of 100 Thieves, or someone like Kyler Murray, who's a quarterback of the Cardinals, who loves streaming Warzone. One point of brand building is by getting into the hands of reputable people that can kind of improve the brand equity. The second portion, obviously, is partnering, whether it's on physical or digital products with high-end brands, whether it's PC peripherals, apparel, so on and so forth. We're going to continue to kind of build out the brand that way as well. And by continuously pulling our brand upstream, that brand equity will continue to increase. And obviously the collection will increase as well because, if people, if Web2 people, if people in the gaming industry who didn't know about Valhalla see a Valhalla X Gucci collab, for example, they really dig that collection. They're going to want to come and buy the digital asset as well, right? Which is the NFT collection. So that, as a standalone thing, will be a valuable asset, right? Even without the stacked platform, in the same way that Bored Ape is successful, even without the other side platform being successful. In terms of, I think, platform specific stuff, besides from the streamer, these are things that we're actively still discussing and trying to improve, right? Like, I can literally sit here and tell you, hey, like if you're a Valhalla holder, you get a special badge, so on and so forth, right? Like, is it, I can certainly do all that type of stuff, but we really want to give you a better answer and to go a bit deeper. I think that it's definitely a hard question because as you guys know, there isn't really a single huge Web3 DApp, consumer DApp right now, right? So a lot of this stuff is blue ocean stuff where we have to kind of solve it as we go. But certainly, we've gotten this question enough that we know it's top of mind for a lot of our holders, and it's something that we'll increasingly, think about. And the more kind of solutions we come up with, we'll deliver to the community as well.
Sounds good. And then I just brought up Pretzel. Pretzel, do you want to go ahead and ask your question?
Yeah, hey, good morning, guys. Hope everything's going good. It's been a great hour so far. I just want to get a little bit more clarification and hopefully, get it addressed for people in the community because there was still a lot of like confusion and, especially like on Twitter, a lot of people fighting around certain things. And hopefully you can clarify, Alex, that, the differentiation between Stacked and Valhalla, right? There's a major differentiation, and a lot of people are talking about the 15 million or so raised for Stack, and then having a mint with a cost, and just explaining, right? Like I'm assuming that the 15 million raised for Stack is exclusively for Stack because it costs a lot of money to build a platform, let alone a streaming platform, and the mint funds are going to be for the community, right? Like, so it's not that mint funds are going to be used for Stacked and vice versa, or whatever. That way that gets clarified, because I think it's important for people to understand that like building a streaming platform is very expensive in and of itself, and that's the reason why there was a mint fee for the community, right? Because we also need money to support the community, and then two, to get a little bit more information as far as what Valhalla will look like. It sounds like there's going to be a lot more to do with community and brand development and engagement with these esports teams, because there's a lot of discussion on Stacked, which is awesome. That's the whole reason why I got involved, was because I think it's super interesting, and any sort of like innovative technology I really like get interested in. But just more so on the Valhalla side, right? It sounds like it's going to be community, brand building, and then partnerships with esports organizations and things like that.
Yeah. Sorry, Pretzel. You said a lot of great things in there. I'm trying to figure out what I should answer first. Can you kind of give me like one or two bullets on how you want me to address it?
Yeah, sure. So the differentiation between Stacked and Valhalla as far as the funds are concerned. So, right, Valhalla has its own funds, and Stacked has its own funds, and are those going to be used interchangeably? My understanding is that Stacked will be on its own, and then the mint funds and everything for Valhalla will be for Valhalla and the community. And then two, as far as Valhalla is concerned, it sounds like that's going to be more of an esports community with brand building and engagement with these esports teams.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So yes, so on the how are proceeds kind of allocated between Stacked as well as Valhalla? So for the Valhalla mint proceeds, those are 100% dedicated to Valhalla. The Stacked side, the 15 million or so that we've raised for Stacked, that is for Stacked Studios, right? So obviously the primary initiative being Stacked, but I don't want to say that directionally the Stacked funds cannot go towards building Valhalla as well. The core basis of our company, Stacked Studios, is that we're Web3 consumer startup studio, right? The investors that invested in us trusted us to kind of go and explore different consumer products, and I dedicated it towards gaming because that's my passion and my field of interest. So that's kind of how I would say it is. Like mint proceeds, 100%, it's going to be dedicated. It flows only one way, and it flows only into Valhalla. For the Stack side, that potentially could flow as well if we need to leverage that, right? Because ultimately it is one company. So it's like a parent company. So you could, in the same way, I'm sure Yuga can allocate, some of the proceeds they've raised, right, to making Bored Ape more successful. That's kind of how I would mostly think about it. And also, and I think there's a misconception, right? I think like Stacked, of course, will be very expensive to build. To give you kind of some basic numbers, I'm trying to think. To kind of to kind of field a million, to kind of field 100,000 average concurrent viewers across your platform, that probably costs about $1 million a month in terms of server bills, server hosting bills, right? Which is why like Twitch charges such a high subscription fee. But for us, it's really about slowly inching your way there, right? It's really about managing your finances well and growing kind of sustainably and slowly. Our viewer growth, I'm sure, is going to be linear. We're not going to pop off and have like 5,000 viewers the next day, as you can imagine. It's really going to be like, hey, we're going to focus on one content creator. They're going to crawl their way up to 300 to 500 average concurrent viewers, and then we're going to sign another content creator, and they're going to slowly climb up. So I think we're definitely going to be managing our finances incredibly well there. And if it ever comes to the time where, holy crap, like our platform is so big, it's bleeding some money. I think the thing that I always tell people is like, at that point, we're going to be the largest consumer application in Web3, right? I consistently say this number, but Ethereum daily wallets is only 500K. As a consumer platform, we could easily pass 500K. And at that point, if we need to go into the capital markets and raise additional financing to help support that, we absolutely could, because we've obviously shown a ton of progress as the largest, Ethereum application, right? So I think that's kind of how I would answer your question, right? And to kind of reel it back into your original question, it's that like Valhalla proceeds will be dedicated towards Valhalla. We'll probably add one or two more people in the short term to kind of continue to grow the brand. And then on the Stack side, that's a experimentation, slow growth as well. But we'll manage our finance as well. So it's like we consistently said this. We'll have like 5+ years of runway as we experiment. And that's because we're managing our finance as well, not because we just have a lot of money, right? We could obviously hire a bunch more engineers, but we're just very, very cautious. So I hope that answers your question, Pretzel.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think it's perfect. That way there's clarification for anybody that's listening, because like I said, there was still a lot of confusion on Twitter and some of the chat about how the funds are going to be used. And then sort of the second part was around the Val brand, right? So it sounds like it's going to be brand building, sort of similar to Azuki. They have their niche in the market and they're building a brand around it. It's like Val's going to be building their brand around the gaming community and bringing the gaming community sort of into like Web3 native platforms and things like that. But also around the competitive esports teams and possibly doing, like you said, whether it's sort of drop or whatever around like merch or events, things like that. So, if you're able to clarify that a little bit as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So on the Valhalla side, the way that we really think of ourselves, so obviously you mentioned Azuki obviously is doing a great job building their brand, for their anime metaverse. I think for us directionally, the way that we really try to position ourselves is like a more higher end 100 Thieves, if that makes sense. 100 Thieves has done a really, really great job curating themselves as a media and lifestyle brand. I think where we see a kind of big hole in the market is actually pushing that a little bit upstream. I'll give you an example. I've been gaming my whole life, literally since I was like 6 or 7. I'm 31 now. I have disposable income where I can purchase. I'm a really big keyboard enthusiast also. I have like 10+ keyboards that I built myself. My keyboards range anywhere from $500 to $1,500 on the expensive side that I had to burn a hole in my pocket for. I think there's certainly a market there for just older gamers that for whatever reason want to improve that brand lifestyle but still want to express themselves. So I'm already doing that in the physical world. Valhalla is a digital representation of that, which is like, hey, look, I've been a gamer my whole life. I still love gaming. I want to represent myself as a gamer. I like, if I can afford it, I want to be able to express myself in a, more high-end way. Because I'm sure all of us have done this, right? Like I used to shop at PacSun as a kid. So it's kind of like that, where a lot of it goes around brand building in terms of making a, luxury, I think, gaming brand. But it's crypto native, right? Starting from crypto is our sort of wedge. So it'll be in like specifically what that means is like, yes, it'll be through media content, right? Affiliating ourselves with the right people, offline activations as well as product activations, all of which will take time, right? We want to do a great job at it. We want people to be really impressed. We want quality. So these things will take time, and we'll 100% share more as we kind of release this stuff.
That's awesome, man. I really appreciate your time, and everyone I can tell, I tell them how open you are, and how easy it is to talk to you. I mean, I'm constantly bugging in your DMs, and you reply so quick. So I appreciate how open you are, and easy to do. So, great. I appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Yeah, of course, anytime. Yeah, yeah. Thanks for reaching out, and thanks for tuning in here.
See you guys.
Thanks so much, Pretzel. I'll move you to the audience right now. All right, guys, we're hitting up an hour. We're 2 minutes over. Ryan is actually in the chat right now answering questions. So I'm sorry if we can't get to all the questions today. I did see someone in the chat ask about having a follow Val chat. I think that's important and something I'll talk to Ryan after, that we can create a channel for to connect our holders. And during this time, I think it's important to grow our community and make our community stronger, and what's better than having each other follow each other and make new friends. So we can definitely implement that. And I think before we end it, Alex or Ryan, I think it's important to let our community know like what the timelines look like. So if there's anything I'm missing, please let me know. But I would say guys, starting from here, we have reveal, which we have said it's about 2 weeks after mint. And then Alex has stated that in March or April, they'll come out with the beta version of the platform. And then on the community end, in early Q1, we're going to throw another big quarterly, tournament, and then have small monthly tournaments in between. But Alex or Ryan, do you have anything else to add in terms of timelines? I think a lot of people in chat are wondering, what's going to go on between the gap between, I guess you could say, reveal, which is going to probably come around mid-December, and then the release of the beta version of the platform. And will we as a team communicate, progress on the streaming platform leading up until release of the beta version?
Yeah, the reveal is going to continue as planned, 2 weeks from mint, which I think is mid next week. We'll come out with more details around, this event we've been alluding to, on Sunday or Monday, so just a few days before reveal. And then, prior to that, we hear you guys. We're working on the art. We have plans for a lot more reveals or sneak peeks, throughout the week. We'll do an overview on some of the traits that you can expect to see in the collection, stuff like that. So appreciate everyone's patience. We are very much focused on QAing the art and making sure this event goes smoothly. As far as the actual platform, yeah, we'll share updates as much as we can, as transparently and thoroughly as possible. I think Q1 for the closed beta or limited beta MVP is very, very possible, with the timeline that we're working on. And then we're still planning to launch the marketplace probably sometime in January.
Yeah, and I think the last thing I'll say to this is that we internally as a company, and this is what a lot of tech companies generally, and I run this project with a tech company. The structure that we generally follow is a sprint structure. So internally as a team, we basically discuss what we want to accomplish in the next 2 weeks and what we, and what we accomplished in the last 2 weeks, right? It keeps us accountable and it keeps us moving at a rapid clip. I think that, the structure that we want to, give to, our holders as well, and even our investors, we don't even update our investors that often. We update them quarterly. But for you guys, if you guys are interested, is that we want to do bi-weekly updates as well, maybe monthly, just to save you guys. And, in case it's there's not that much, if we're deep in development, obviously it doesn't help for us to be hey, look, we've developed chat and the live streaming function, So we're going to be communicating with you guys as much as possible. You don't need to trust us. You can just verify by our actions and our communication that we're building and we're delivering. So whatever we do, you guys are going to get constant communication. For me, obviously, set structure. You're going to have time to kind of reach me through, office hours. You're going to be able to reach me through, off the cuff AMAs any single time without time. So we're going to be constantly chatting with you guys. So, whatever our initiatives may be. So, you won't be left in the dark or anything like that. And again, I think, Pretzel mentioned this. My DMs are open. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always DM me that as well. So, we hope by providing these methods of communication and direct method, I think hopefully that is leveling up the standard of communication that you guys see in the space today. So yeah, Sammy, I'll pass it back to you. I think that should wrap it up, right?
Yep, that should wrap it up. Just want to take this moment to thank everyone for attending, the first post-mint Valhalla town hall. Like Alex mentioned, we'll throw these town halls frequently, so you guys are in the know. I do hope you guys all found this town hall informational. Part of throwing part of having it as an AMA is so we can answer any questions you guys have post mint. But if there's anything else that we can add, for those of you who don't know, we have another town hall in the afternoon. Just wanted to throw 2 of them to accommodate different time zones. But if there's anything else that we can add to make this more fruitful to our audience, feel free to tag me in chat and let me know, and then we can implement it for our next town hall later today. But ultimately, we want you guys to walk away from this town hall feeling confident that you know what Stacked is, what Valhalla is, what we're working on, and what's ahead in the future. So if you have any other questions, feel free to ask. We do want to get those answered. But with that said, I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And like Alex said, we will do our best to keep chatting, keep you guys updated, and answer any questions you have throughout this process. So I just want to thank everyone for following along on our journey, and stay tuned because the job's not done. Thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Everyone.